let's kind of play this out here because I remember when the trade had gone down, and this is more going to be in the offseason, the position that the Lakers are in. I remember when the trade went down, it's like, I get it, completely understand. Pelinka's he's trying to worry about today's roster. He can't worry about tomorrow. He's just trying to worry about today. But there was a part of me, it's like, wow, that's a lot to give up. And you saw that Mark Williams had missed about 60% of his games so far in his NBA career. Hopefully he's healthy, he's good to go, and he's got no issues. Okay, the trade doesn't happen. What do you think of the Lakers positioning in the summer? Because they are going to have Rui's contract will be expiring contract. Gabe Vincent will be on an expiring contract. I'm not telling
Kleba
you Kleba as well. That's right. And he's about 11 mil, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So they got like 40 million in expirings.
And I'm not saying go trade everybody. Austin Reeves has clearly shown that he's a very valuable NBA player and his contract does not match his production. You still got your 2031 now. You still have Dalton Connect. Just out of curiosity, by the trade not happening, what do you think of? It feels like the Lakers got a lot of options in the summer where you're also going to have a solid 8 to 10 weeks of data of what this team looks like, rather than just kind of, assuming what it looks like. You'll actually know exactly what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses. What kind of position does that put the Lakers in the summer, you think?
I think it puts them in a good position where to your point, like they can evaluate the roster, they can evaluate which players fit with the direction that they want to go in, which players fit best around Luka and LeBron. And I like the one thing with the Mark Williams trade, and this was something that they were trying to, it was the tightrope they were trying to walk, was like the benefit to it, obviously short term, bringing in a better center than Jackson Hayes, and long term, he's a 23-year-old, ideally ages with Luka, and that could be a starting tandem for you moving forward. But you also didn't really lose a rotation player. Like right now, Dalton is the ninth man in the rotation.
Sure.
Some nights he plays more, some nights he doesn't. I think if the playoffs were starting tomorrow, he'd probably be on the fringes of the rotation, if not out of it, just because of his defense. So you didn't really lose a big piece of the rotation. Whereas, let's say a guy like Nick Claxton in Brooklyn, had the Lakers traded for him, I mean, one, it would have likely cost similar, if not even more draft assets, like basically emptying the cupboard there. But two, just a salary match, it would have required Rui and Gabe. And so now you are doing two trades where you do the Luka trade, you lose two starters, and you lose a depth piece just overall because you're trading 2 for 1. Obviously you get better, but just in terms of depth. Then you do another trade where you do 2 for 1 again, so that now you are net down 2 rotation guys. And yes, Nick Claxton's better than Rui, he's better than Gabe. Luka's obviously better than AD and better than Max. But like the Lakers have been a team that has struggled with depth outside. Like, they've gone 8-9 deep for most of the season. So losing a couple of those guys, now all of a sudden you're getting into shaky territory. So I think that's going to be a calculation for them this summer. What was, again, like they liked that the Mark Williams trade, it was only Dalton and Cam. So you really weren't losing anything in the rotation. It was your back end rotation guy out and a starter in. So on paper, like that is the way you upgrade a roster. Whereas if you do something in the offseason with some of the expiring guys, like sure, those guys are more valuable now and teams are more willing to take them on. But if you trade Rui and Gabe, now we talk at top 8, now you're going to 7 and you got to figure out a way to replenish that depth with potentially limited, maybe your non-taxpayer MLE or maybe a minimum contract or something. So I just think that's a consideration. Like ideally they can find another rookie contract type guy. Dalton has a strong close to the season, and you could go back into the summer with like Dalton 2031, a pick swap or 2, a second, and you can use that package again to kind of upgrade it with a young center. But I think like Walker Kessler, I don't think is going to be in their price range. Maybe a Jalen Duren. I know that's a guy that they were interested in. I think Detroit wanted to keep him. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I think the one consideration for them is just going to be like the depth element of, yes, like we can find an upgrade at center, but are we depleting our depth too much? And that's a calculation that, again, they're gonna have to figure out, going to the summer. But I will say, like, they're in a good spot. They have a lot of assets, and I think it could end up working out in their favor, where they do end up getting a healthier player longer term and a better fitting piece, and continue to work with Luka on finding that player.
I think it's so funny because a month ago, if I'd have told you the way you just described, you're going to lose Rui and Gabe, right? Hypothetically. A month ago, if I'd have said that, I don't think there's many people, probably you as well. And I'm not trying to say Rui has no value. I'm not trying to say Gabe has no value, but leading up to 30 days ago, I'm the first thing that I'm saying is like, yeah, that no problem. Sounds good. And now all of a sudden we found ourselves this morning saying, not having Gabe last night really hurt the Lakers. That's how valuable those players have been over this stretch. And when you lose a star player or you lose some depth, the only way the Lakers can compete if some of these other role players are stepping up. And those are two guys that have stepped up. So I give them all the credit in the world. But I really actually do like the concept of you can see what you have over the course of these next, let's see how far they go in the playoffs, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, however long the season goes. Maybe it's 3 months, whatever it is, right? And then you can kind of take a second and figure out, at least they're in a position where expiring contracts are valuable. You got a few of those that are there for you. You still got that 2031 pick, and they're going to have some options. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.